Cause you had a bad day, you're taking one down, you sing a sad song just to turn it around.
Hit Boys Podcast. Cannon here once again. And boy, do we have a giddy one for you today, baby.
This is the post-game, brother, of the Miami Dolphins coming into Ford Field and beating the Detroit Lions 31-27 yesterday.
Who's that?
Oh, boy.
Who's that?
Oh, boy.
What's that jersey there?
Look at the people.
What is that?
Boy.
What is that there?
He's gloating, everybody. You gotta let him.
The Alabama guy.
You gotta let him.
Tua just came in to Detroit, Michigan, and carved you up.
That's what they did.
Like a pumpkin on Halloween, baby.
Yeah. It was a very exciting game. I thought it was an interesting game to watch. I mean, the first half was like boom, 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 back and forth. And, Lions jumped out to a 14-0 lead. We'll get into our analysis here in a minute of each of us, but just kind of a brief recap. I mean, the Lions were up 14-0. Miami was driving and fumbled the ball. The Lions recovered, took it down for a touchdown. I mean, it looked like it was, and then Dolphins came right back, scored another touchdown, made it 14-7, and then it was 21-7?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and then the Dolphins came back. I mean, and then it ultimately...
It was scoring back and forth every possession.
I mean, it looked like it was going to be one of them shootout
every
type
possession
games.
Until halftime came along. And then the Lions, I think, had a 10-point... It was 27-17 at the half, I think.
It was 27-17 at the half. DC did a little fake punt.
He did a
little fake punt.
Got the first down. It worked first down. But come the second half, the Lions didn't score. So
the Lions scored 0 points in the second half.
Lions have scored 0 points in the second half in the last 3 games, actually. They have 0 points in the last 6 quarters of football in the second half, that's just awful. That's terrible.
Terrible. Take a lap.
It can't happen. That shows to me that you are going into halftime and just kind of status quo. Just all right. Let's just keep on keeping on. And then at halftime, the other team makes their adjustments, and the other. Well,
I don't know about that, brother.
What do you mean? The Cowboys came out second half. Lions didn't do anything different. Cowboys kicked their ass. Game against the Patriots. Patriots just kicked their ass the whole game. And this last game against Miami, the Lions were cooking along, baby, cooking along the whole first half. Uncle Bill texted us.
Yeah, Uncle Bill texted us. And he's like, "Oh yeah, Lions are doing this to the Dolphins."
Hey, Cam, Garrett, giving Miami a little of this.
Lions are just slapping the Dolphins around.
And me and brother texted back, "Bro, Uncle Bill, how many times you haven't seen this movie the same as many times as we have? I mean, you're older than us, Uncle Bill. I mean, gosh, you've seen this movie many more times than we have. You just gotta be patient, you know. You gotta wait. Just gotta wait for the climax, and that's when the Dolphins took the lead, 31-27. That's the plot twist right there. The Lions get you all feeling good. And they're like, hey, it's going to be a good Sunday. For Uncle Bill, Michigan State lost. They got by Michigan State, or by Michigan. And then Lions, I don't know, they folded like a house of cards.
Like they always do.
They always do.
Just, they didn't score in the second half.
Brother's got some notes here.
Yeah, I just want to go over, for point of reference, some of the stats. Tua was 29 of 36 for 382 yards, 3 touchdowns. Goff did not play bad either. I
thought Goff showed well.
Goff 27 of 37 for 321 and a touchdown. He was not the problem.
Let me pause you there. The
only
thing I got to say.
I get rolling, and brother's got to stop the train.
I got to talk about Goff for a second, though. Just on the one play.
Don't tell me what the fuck to do. How's that, pal?
Just on the one play. The 4th and 2.
Oh,
that's
what are you doing?
Huh?
What the hell are you doing?
That's all I want to say.
4th and 2, he throws it.
Why are you going to Josh Reynolds down the field? That's not Josh Reynolds' game, in my opinion. Like, that's not go up and get the ball like a Randy Moss. He's not a Moss guy. He's a nobody, really. But all the Lions fans, when they signed him, thought, oh my God, Jared Goff and Reynolds go way back. They used to
like they're Montana and Rice.
They used to go trick or treating together.
Or Manning and Harrison.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I never even heard of Josh Reynolds. Before he came here, he's a nobody. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't follow football as close as I used to because I got a life, a real job. But
it's tough to keep up with it.
Yeah, it's like work to keep up with it anymore for me.
I'm telling you, brother, we got this off. center again. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it.
That's a little better.
That's a little better. But Josh Reynolds is nobody.
I don't know. The
DJ Shark is a nobody.
Well, he's on IR. He's done.
Again, he's a nobody.
4th and 2. It's like 4th and 2. What the hell are you doing? 4th and 2. Goff thinks he's Tua or something and decides to try to throw it 40
I
yards.
hate the play for DeAndre Swift. He goes out to the flat on that play, and then there's a linebacker covering him right there. Like soon as Goff would throw that football to Swift, that linebacker is going to smother him like stink on shit. And really what they should have done with Swift is probably do like what he did when he scored the touchdown. He kind of did like a quick little post route, small little post route, and he was on the linebacker. He was one-on-one with the linebacker on that play, and boom, touchdown. And they should have
just handed it off and gave it to Swift.
I like Swift.
Little inside zone run play out of shotgun or something.
I mean, we'll get to
RPO.
Swift later on in general, but I think Swift has limitations with some of that. But
Yeah.
I know you got a lot more notes there.
To me, a lot of the game was won and lost. Won by Miami and lost by Detroit. It's third downs.
Oh, God, yeah.
Miami, it seemed like Miami was just, dinking and dunking, boom, 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 boom,
Tua
boom.
was 8 for 8 going into the fourth quarter.
Well, they were
on third downs.
They were 7 of 12 throughout the game on third downs. The Dolphins were 7 of 12. When you think back about it, it's like, damn, I thought they were better than that. I thought they were like 12 of 12.
Well, no, Tua was 8 for 8 throwing on third down going into the fourth quarter. I think they missed one late in the fourth quarter, but he did hit a big one to Tyreek Hill very late in that fourth quarter with like less than 2 or 3 minutes left.
But
seven
of 12, being 7 for 12 on third downs in a game that's that close like that, that's just...
It's killer.
It's killer if you're the Lions. They could not get off the field.
Did you have something to say about the penalties too? Because it
penalties,
was atrocious.
Atrocious
on both sides.
Both
Sides, Miami and the Dolphins.
Just an ugly.
I think it was up into the teens. I think it was up into the teens as far as declined penalties. I mean, flags thrown, but both teams declined the penalty. And when I look at this game, the Lions really came out and shot themselves in the foot, brother, to me. In the second half,
Lions shooting themselves in the foot?
In the second half, when they first got the ball, they were driving the ball again, and then boom, the offensive line, it was like they forgot what the snap count was. Between Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell, they couldn't count the two if it saved their ass. They couldn't. I mean, I don't know what, brother.
2.
That killed that drive because they were in Finn's territory, were they not? I mean, they were just across the 50, like the 45, and then it was like 1st and 30 the next thing,
Well, let's move on to this. We did a little recap of the game. We kind of pissed on the Lions, we usually got to do because they don't do nothing.
I don't know. I mean, that's just our thing.
That's just our thing.
Why would you not?
Something
it's
good.
Funny. Yeah, it's a little childish. I'm sure it is. But at the same time,
it's justified.
It's justified. It's funny. It's just meant in jest. It's just a joke. Lay off.
Don't get all
The Lions
buttered.
have 65 years of futility. 65 years. I'm 40. How old are you, brother?
35.
Okay.
I don't look it, though.
But, I mean, how old is Dad?
65?
Look at that, people. I mean, come on. It's a joke. The franchise is a joke.
That brings me to one of my points that I want to talk about that we'll get to in a minute. But I want to start with the changes going into today. Aubrey Pleasant, defensive backs coach for the Lions.
Boy, howdy.
What happened to him? He got canned.
You're fired.
Yeah, he got shit canned today.
He got fired. He gone.
You're fired.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
Yeah, you're fired, Aubrey Pleasant. You're fired. Thanks for making Okuda a much better player. Now get the hell out of here. You're fired.
Yeah, thanks for making Okuda a better player. A Warrior, I don't know what. The Lions need to cut a Warrior. He
sucks.
wretched. He sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, he has sucked all season long.
Will Harris, he sucks.
Everybody else, AJ Parker, sucks.
But my point going into this, bringing up the Pleasant thing, is clearly this is just a political move to temper the fans' rage a little bit.
Yeah.
Because this firing does nothing. It accomplishes nothing in the grand scheme of making the Lions better. Okay, you fired your defensive backs coach. When I look at Aubrey Pleasant and I think, honestly, what the hell was Aubrey Pleasant supposed to do with this secondary? Because this secondary has got to be one of the worst secondaries I've ever seen for any team in the history of the NFL.
Okay, so Dan Campbell came out after last night's game, and he said our game plan was to chuck the receivers at the line of scrimmage.
That didn't work.
Well, it didn't happen. He's like, well, we came out, we wanted to play a physical style of defense. We wanted to jam the receivers at the line.
That is true. They didn't really do that.
And he's like, we didn't do that. Okay, you're the head coach. I mean, like, Aaron Glenn is standing 5 feet from you. Walk up to him and say, hey, jam the guys. I mean, what are you doing? And then Dan Campbell comes out and fires Aubrey Pleasant. I'm going to tell you right now, Dan Campbell's a punk.
Oh, boy, howdy.
Ooh.
Punk.
You little pimp.
Punk.
All talk. He can have 12 caffeines with 34 shots of espresso. He's a punk.
He could have one ass cheek and 3 toes. He might.
I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing about it. I'm sick of seeing it in the Bleacher Report comments. I'm sick of just like, I'm sick of it watching it.
To me,
I'm just sick of watching it.
If Dan Campbell's a man, to me, what he does
is he fires Aaron Glenn.
He fires Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn was and has been the problem all year long.
Yeah.
Their defense is a running faucet. It does not stop.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, it cannot stop anyone.
It's horrible.
I don't know where I was going with that metaphor, but their defense is awful. It's putrid. It's terrible. It's wretched. It sucks.
Insert Woody Harrelson.
He's terrible. He's wretched. He's awful. He's dreadful. He sucks. I'm telling you, right?
Yeah.
But it is bad.
It
I
is
mean,
bad.
it's historically bad, okay? I mean, it's historically bad. I mean, Tyreek Hill and Jaden Waddle. I was so impressed with Jaden Waddle yesterday. I didn't realize how good he was. I mean, it's not like I'm sitting around watching Miami Dolphins.
He's a bad man.
Bye, George. We'll see you.
Yeah, he's a bad man.
Another
No,
Alabama guy.
I don't sit around and watch Finn's football, but if that's how he plays, and
Guy's
part
a
of that
freak.
is Lions, secondary is atrocious. AJ Parker got just burnt. I mean, just
You're asking a lot of that secondary to cover those 2 guys. I mean, you're talking
Yeah.
2 of the fastest, most explosive players in the league.
Tyreek Hill is phenomenal.
The cheetah.
Yeah, he's really.
Plus,
really
you got
good.
Jasicki at tight end, which is one of the better, more athletic tight ends
Yeah,
in the league. So
it's good.
asking that secondary to cover
And
those 3 guys,
Mostert is
running
good.
back. Asking the
Mostert's good.
secondary to cover those 3 guys is a very tall,
Right.
very tall task to ask of them, and that's part of the reason why Miami, with 2 under center, is undefeated.
Yeah,
They haven't lost with 2.
And the other thing I got to point out on the defensive side of the ball, it's like everybody points to the free agent signings and maybe lack thereof, right? Okay, maybe salary cap issues are still a hindrance here in year 2. But I've got to say, Alex Anzalone
Anal zone.
is freaking horrible. I mean, nothing against the guy, but the guy is slow as molasses in February. I mean, like, he cannot get out and cover a running back, even a fullback. I mean, these guys are just, I saw that numerous times yesterday. That stuck out to me.
He makes a tackle. here or there.
Rodrigo looked good, made a lot of tackles after the guy had already made the catch.
Anal zone makes a tackle here or there.
Yeah, but the guy's already 8, 9, 10, 12 yards down the field. Like, the first down has been picked up. Like, that's my thing, is like, yeah, it's okay to be like stop him at second and they pick up 3 yards on a first down run.
Let's get into where you go from here and what can be done. To me,
Well, they fired Aubrey Pleasant, so somebody's going to replace him.
there's
a
I'm
new
talking
coach.
grand scheme of things. The firing Aubrey Pleasant does nothing. But to me, grand scheme of things, if you really want to right this ship and fix things, you got to pull the plug now, to me. And by pulling the plug now, I mean Brad Holmes should be able to fire Dan Campbell
God?
and bring in his own head coach, which he didn't get to do when he started this regime. So he was saddled with Dan Campbell as his coach when he came in, because the Lions tried to be the smartest guys in the room and do what the Lions always do, and they hired their head coach before they hired the general manager.
Actually, I looked this up. That's not true.
What?
What do you mean it's not true?
Well, I had to look this up because I saw this in Bleacher Report. Actually, Brad Holmes was hired January 14th of 2021. Dan Campbell was hired January 21st of 2021. So 7 days apart. So, but to Brother's point though, even though technically he's not correct, I mean, in context, he's like right though, because there's no way 7 days into a job, I'm hiring one of the most pivotal position for performance of the entire organization. You know what I mean? It's like,
I wouldn't think so.
I mean, like, the Lions and the Spielman consultant experience and Martha Ford taking, more initiative in this search, right? And then they have another consultant. I
That's
can't
another
remember.
guy I was going to blame right now was Chris Spielman.
But like they were searching for Dan Campbell. Spielman, I'm telling you, wanted Dan Campbell. There's something about that whole thing, I think, that we'll never really understand. But I'm telling you, I really firmly believe, brother,
Spielman gets a lot of the blame as far as I'm concerned over these
Well,
last 2 years.
he wanted
orchestrating
DC, I'm
this
telling
front
you.
office and orchestrating this team.
Yeah.
To me, he's as much to blame as anybody else because he was. I mean, it was very well documented and well known that the Fords or Sheila Ford was getting a lot of advisement from Chris Spielman in this search for the general manager and for the head coach. That Spielman was one of the main guys spearheading this whole thing.
Right.
So if this ship goes down with Holmes and Campbell being bums, then Spielman he's got to go down with them. He's just as big a part of the problem.
Yeah, but he's not hired though, brother. I mean, like, Spielman's going to walk away from this scot-free. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to include Spielman in this. He made the decisions to hire the guys. And to be honest with you, what's the difference? Because the Lions have hired Matt Millen.
He's a bum.
They've hired Bob Quinn.
He's a bum.
They've hired, other people without Spielman's advice. They were all total disasters.
What's the one constant?
The Fords. I mean,
Fords.
It's clearly the Fords, but we're not going to shit on the Fords.
Oh, I'm going to shit on the Fords. I'm going to shit on the Fords right now.
You can do that day after day after day, show after show after show.
Yeah, and I'm going to do it right now again.
Oh, God.
Because I'm sick of this, with Sheila Ford's comments coming out last week talking about how she's frustrated, but she believes in this regime. And she went on to do this whole thing about I hate losing and I hate losing more than anybody.
Who likes losing?
I hate losing more than anybody. I want to win so bad. Do you? Because if you hated losing, to me, the last 60 years of this organization, it looks like to me like you friggin' love losing. Like it looks like to me, you just love it. You lather in it because you've shown no signs of winning. I know, brother, it's hyperbole, but I'm being hyperbolic.
Yeah.
But still, you've shown no gumption at all. Nothing that shows that you hate losing because you continue to do it over and over and over and over again. Sometimes you manage, when I think that the puddle on the side of the road is shallow enough and can't get any lower, you drain a little bit more out of it.
Okay, so you talked about a little bit earlier, like, where do you go from here? Okay, so now
Can't go anywhere worse. Can't get worse.
You got Green Bay coming to town.
Oh, yeah, I guess it can get worse because you're staring 1-8 in the face. This is a get-right game for the Packers.
I was just going to say, brother, you took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, last year, DC fired Anthony Lynn.
He did.
Real
early, pretty early.
Yeah,
too.
I thought that was kind of early in the season. I mean, in the first 6-7 games.
Yeah, it's first half of the season, I think.
Now he's faced with, a bit of another challenge here, a personal challenge here of friends or business. Personal relationships or business, because he's clearly got a feeling with AG. To me, and AG was a former defensive back. I mean, like, you're firing Anthony Pleasant, but Aaron Glenn was like a Pro Bowl defensive back, brother. I mean, like, we all remember him, 31 with the Jets. We remember AG. I just look at this and I see this is the beginning of the implosion of this regime.
Yeah, when they go and lose to Green Bay
at home. That's going to be at home.
It's in
It's
Lambeau.
at Fort. No, it's at Fort Field.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Let's look it up.
Well, you know what? Maybe they pull a rabbit out of their head because Aaron Rodgers.
Brother, Green
You were
Bay,
Mr. Optimism against Miami, thinking that they could beat
they
Miami.
they almost won the game.
Get the hell out of here.
It's at Detroit.
Aaron Rodgers does not play well in Detroit. So
no, he just threw a 60-yard, 65-yard. Well, that was part of not playing well. He did throw a 65-yard bomb at the
Hail Mary touchdown. Yeah, we all remember that.
Up down the field. Rodgers in trouble. It's going to get there. He turned 32 yesterday. Does he have a vintage moment in him? In the end zone. It is caught for the win. Richard Rodgers with a walk-off touchdown.
But I mean,
but
Mason Crosby doesn't play good.
Aaron
fourth field.
Aaron Rodgers looks like a shell of his former self this year.
I don't know if it's Aaron Rodgers. I think that is.
He's
headed
got a
for
guy.
A nasty divorce. I
He's
think
got
it's
a
headed
guy.
for a nasty divorce.
That Romeo Dobbs.
Dobbs is good.
Romeo Dobbs
But
is good.
Is he Devontae Adams? Is he Robert Brooks? Is he?
If I'm the Packers,
Who's the guy that went to the Raiders?
If I'm the Packers, I'm wanting to trade. If I'm the Packers, I'm saying, here's your picks back. Give me Devontae Adams back. And if I'm the Raiders, I'm thinking, yeah, give me my picks back, and I'll give you Devontae Adams back.
Because we need a quarterback. Because Derek Carr sucks.
He does. And that let's segue that into a new segment on Smith Boys Podcast.
Oh God.
God.
We're calling it Heroes and Zeros.
We can be heroes forever.
Let's segue that.
So
right.
basically, what we want to do here on Smith Boys Podcast with Heroes and Zeros, brothers and I will pick two heroes from this
Two
football
heroes
weekend.
each, or you pick a hero and I pick a hero.
We'll pick two guys each.
Two guys each?
Two heroes each and two zeros each.
Okay,
Two guys
I can
that we
live with
think
that.
stole the weekend, ran away with it, had a big weekend.
All
And
right,
two guys
well,
that
you go first.
we
It's
think
your
were
segment.
bums.
Your segment, ladies first.
Oh, well, hero number one, Tua Tagovailoa,
Age before beauty.
quarterback, Miami Dolphins, that just carved you up like a jack-o'-lantern on Halloween, baby.
Tua's a good pick.
He's my first hero, Alabama guy.
My pick is the Michigan offensive line. And I thought that they took Michigan State behind the proverbial woodshed and said, that's what they did.
My second,
my hero.
My second hero is I'm going to go a little unconventional here, not a local tie, but I will say watching that Sunday night football game against the Bills and the Packers.
Yes.
Watching Josh Allen play the quarterback position is a thing of beauty.
Yes, it is.
He did throw a couple interceptions late, which didn't.
He plays it like I've never seen anybody else
He
play.
plays backyard football, baby. Him and Mahomes
He's almost
both.
like Ben Roethlisberger, but like more athletic, bigger, stronger, faster.
He's
and
like
more athletic.
he's like a hybrid of like Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and Ben Roethlisberger,
Yes.
like all mixed in and blended up.
Yeah.
And watching him play is it's fun to watch.
It is very fun to watch.
Second hero, just off the wall, random, Josh Allen.
Mine is second hero, the tunnel. No. Let's see here. Second hero. Well,
Come on, brother. We're limited for
yeah,
time.
I know. I was saying a second hero. Blake Corum. I'll go with Blake Corum. You know, he played a great game. 173 yards rushing. And he had a couple touchdowns. Give him the high. If Hendon Hooker doesn't win the Heisman, give it to Blake.
Yeah.
Zeros.
Fair with that. Zero number one for me. Now, I haven't disclosed this on the Smith Boys podcast yet, but I am, I guess, what you would call kind of a Las Vegas Raiders fan.
Brother used to live out in Las Vegas.
I used to live out in Las Vegas, and they recently moved there, and I got kind of a little affinity to them. They're kind of an adopted favorite team. I don't really.
You also like the Vegas Knights.
I do, yeah, Vegas Golden Knights hockey team. And my first zero will be the entire Raiders organization because they are deplorable, they're awful, and they need to fire Josh McDaniels already. And if they can trade Devontae Adams back to the Packers and get their picks back, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm not going to go down the Raiders road very far, but why did Josh McDaniels kind of reminds me of
An idiot.
No, he kind of reminds me of Lane Kiffin.
Here we go. Get your popcorn ready.
Well, what's the big thing?
Whoa.
Yeah.
A little less traveled, but same arrogant little son of a bitch is Josh McDaniels in my mind. A little less, like I said, a little less arrogant.
A little less of a prick.
Yeah, a little less of a son of a bitch, but he is. Okay, that's a good one. Mine is Dan Campbell, number one with a bullet, baby. You're 4-19-1.
Yeah, my second zero is going to be just the Lions defense. Because I can't really fault their offense and Ben Johnson too much because they played well in the first half. You can fault them in the second half, but their defense didn't show up the entire game. They were awful. They haven't showed up in weeks, really. Number 2-0, Detroit Lions defense.
Mine is Michigan State players that beat up Jamon Green and Jaden McBurrow. Plain and simple. I mean, I don't give a shit. You know, getting into this story, like basically blaming. I hear people blaming them two guys.
Yeah, I don't get this whole
for
story.
being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I don't get this
Are
whole
you
story.
serious
Like,
right now?
what happened?
Are you serious? And like people talking about Devin Bush kicking and kicking up the turf at midfield a few years ago, and talking about what Harbaugh did, and all this like escalates to violence. Like, you're basically excusing it to me. Are you not? Like, that's what you're doing. You're blaming the victim. You are doing that. So
Calm down, brother.
well, no, this annoys me because, like, I saw the video of Jamon Green basically getting hit over the head with a helmet. Could have killed the guy.
Tell him, brother.
I'm done with hearing this shit. And I saw the Michigan, the Spartan rag or whatever the hell that is. Them two guys are the most idiotic, asinine morons, aside from Rico and Valenti on 97.1.
Make plays! Make plays! Don't sit there and pucker! Make plays!
Go back
So
to
we're
Lions.
gonna end it there. Smith Boys podcast. And apologies to Elon Musk. We ran out of time.
Yeah, he got bumped for my Michigan rant.
Yeah. So.
We'll have him next
Ran out of
week.
time there.
We'll have him next week. Maybe on the pregame. We'll see how far, I don't know, time allows us.
Yeah, because next week we got Alabama and LSU. We got
Oh boy, howdy! We got Tennessee, Georgia. We got
Lions,
Georgia,
Packers.
Georgia and Tennessee, and then we got Alabama and LSU.
Oh, God help us!
That's going to be your SEC championship representative.
Yeah, you got Michigan and Rutgers. It's going to be a bloodbath.
I know Rutgers going.
And then we got a little pregame. We got a pregame coming for you.
Lions Packers.
Lions Packers.
And then we'll have a postgame Lions Packers.
Yeah.
Probably have a postgame Alabama LSU. Maybe.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah.
We'll probably just do a pregame Michigan Rutgers. And all I'm going to say is it's a bloodbath.
Yeah, Rutgers going to kill them.
So
Smith Boys.
out.